Hi, I'm Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guy segment show. Also today in this segment I'm at McCormick Stillman Railroad Park in Scottsdale, Arizona, and continuing episode 3 with part 3. Okay, I'm going to show you all the exhibits around the museum area, get behind the camera and show you around. So here we go. Okay, so here we are walking through. That looks like a survey used on the Transcontinental Railroad. Here's a picture of a Rio Grande articulated locomotive, Denver and Rio Grande, I should say. If you would like to pause and read all this, go right ahead. I'm going slower for you. Alright, here's a conductor's hat, brakeman, two brakemen's hat from, looks like Chesapeake, Ohio, Union Pacific. Yeah, I wonder what those are. Leave a comment. Oh, this is a street box. This is a streetcar fare box. Here's some lanterns. Here's some old track tools, and look at all those on the wall up there. The museum may have changed to look like this probably in 2017 is my guess. It's back in 2016. It was a lot different than this. Here's a telephone you could crank. And this used to be a train store till summer 2009. And look at all these. It's like a Skyview car, and a dome car, and a Vista Dome, and the Great Northern, if I remember correctly. I wonder what the name of that dome car is called. Yeah, here's some more logos on the ceiling. Here's a headlight from locomotive 2754. I think that was a Southern Pacific engine. Here's when the steam locomotive came to the park and when it was still in active service. That diesel locomotive is at the Arizona Railway Museum in Chandler. This used to be a theater area, but now here's what it looks like today. And if you'd like to read all this, feel free to pause. I hope I got a lot of it for you to see. Alright, anyways, let's go outside. This is the Gabe Brooks Museum, some switch stands, a minecart, and let's go into the baggage car. Gonna go this way. That's the presidential car. The museum used to cost a ticket, and it used to just be housed in this car till 2009, and it expanded and moved inside that depot. And it used to cost a ticket till about a year ago or so. And here's how much has changed in this car. There's a conductor and some baggage. Chicago, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Omaha, that says. Now let's look at these exhibits. Yep, a lot has changed since the first video you all saw here. I wonder what this is. Time clock. Comment down below what kind of clock this would... Oh, never mind, I see it. Focus. Wonder what... This is quite an unusual clock. So anyways, let's press on. Look at all these. Wow. There's a bell. Yep, it might have been the bell outside. It might have been the bell that was outside the entryway of the museum, but got moved in here soon. There's some old brochures, as you can see in this case. I don't know if you could see them all. Just move zigzag, and I'm moving as slowly as I can. Wow, look at all these. Pretty amazing, huh? Yeah, here's the presidential car, so everybody, I'm going to stop here. Okay, here are some crossing lights next to the steam locomotive that has been in this spot ever since it probably got put here, as it looks like a railroad crossing right here. And yeah, I think these crossing lights may have been used by the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad years ago, but here they are standing here today at McCormick Stillman Railroad Park next to the number 6 steam locomotive. What you see right behind me is the Paradise and Pacific Stillman. The Paradise and Pacific Stillman was built by Hawker Siddeley in Thunder Bay, Ontario in 1968 and is a tempo lounge car. It was originally built for the Canadian National Railroad and is believed to have originally been numbered 344, which would later have the reporting mark PPCX 800,435. Then the Canadian National Railroad passenger trains were handed over to Via Rail, which is Canada's national intercity passenger train that is similar to Amtrak. This car, along with the other cars in the passenger fleet, was likely transferred to Via Rail as well. The car was then used on the Denver and Rio Grande ski train and had the reporting mark and number and was repainted to resemble the Denver and Rio Grande scheme to match the other cars on the train as well. It was used to take skiers up to Winter Park, Colorado to go skiing. In 2002, it was donated to McCormick Stillman Railroad Park in Scottsdale, Arizona by Charles and Adrian Crockett, where it is seen today. It was soon repainted to this color and was then moved right here in this spot where it is seen today. Also, it was removed from its trucks. It was also lettered Paradise and Pacific and added with the nameplate saying Stillman. It is also used for birthday party rental inside as well. What you see right behind me is the Paradise and Pacific Scottsdale. The Paradise and Pacific Scottsdale was built by Hawker Siddeley in Thunder Bay, Ontario in 1968 and is a tempo lounge car. It was originally built for the Canadian National Railroad and is believed to have originally been numbered 340, which would later have the reporting mark PPCX 800,430. Then the Canadian National Railroad passenger trains were handed over to Via Rail, which is Canada's national intercity passenger train that is similar to Amtrak. This car, along with the other cars in the passenger fleet, was likely transferred to Via Rail as well. The car was then used on the Denver ski train and had the reporting mark and number and was repainted to resemble the Denver and Rio Grande scheme to match the other cars on the train as well. It was used to take skiers up to Winter Park, Colorado to go skiing. In 2002, it was donated to McCormick Stillman Railroad Park in Scottsdale, Arizona by Charles and Adrian Crockett, where it is seen today. It was soon repainted to this color and was then moved right here in this spot where it is seen today. Also, it was removed from its trucks. It was also lettered Paradise and Pacific and added with the nameplate saying Scottsdale. It is also used for birthday party rental inside as well. What you see right behind me is Paradise and Pacific 12. Paradise and Pacific 12 was built by the Texas and Pacific Railroad shops in Big Springs, Texas in 1943 and is a 262 Prairie type steam locomotive. It was originally built as a 462 Pacific type steam locomotive. When Guy Stillman built a railroad at his ranch, it was likely built for his railroad he had in his own backyard just south of Scottsdale Road. In 1967, he contracted Bill Daney of Pueblo, Colorado, and Bill rebuilt it to the wheel arrangement it has today as well. In 1975, it was donated to McCormick Stillman Railroad Park in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was used to tear the grand opening banner when the railroad park opened to the public. Then it operated under steam one final time. In the 1990s or 2000s, it was dismantled and sat in the back of the 15-inch gauge roundhouse for years. Then reassembling was in process in 2017 or 2018. Then in late summer of 2019, it was moved to this spot and stands proudly on display in the park today as well. Also, it is the oldest 15-inch gauge locomotive found at the park as well. What you see right behind me is Paradise and Pacific 208. Paradise and Pacific 208 was built by Chuck Schlosser in 1960 and is a 15-inch gauge model of a GP7 type diesel locomotive built by Electromotive Division in LaGrange, Illinois. It was originally used in Beaver Valley just near Payson, Arizona. In 1980, it was acquired by the Paradise and Pacific Railroad and moved to McCormick Stillman Railroad Park and was rebuilt by the Parks Railroad. Then about the late 1990s, it stopped operating. It was soon getting some traction motor repair performed on it. In 2018, it was finally back in operation once again, and sometimes it operates on the tracks as well. Today, it is seen here at McCormick Stillman Railroad Park and sometimes operates over the 15-inch gauge track, and it is the green diesel on the railroad as well. Okay, you can see right here is a minecart that they have on display next to the depot in the museum section, and there are so many, and I'll show you all around all the minecarts that they have on display here. And here's one of them just in the museum section. I think this one was once used in the mines in the state of Arizona one time, but I wonder which mine this one could have been used by. If you leave a comment down below for each one that I show and let me know, even if you know. So let's go to the next one. Here's another minecart right here. I don't know if this one would have been in Arizona or in a different state for used by a different mining company, but yeah, like I said, please leave your comment down below and let me know. I'd be glad to know where this one would have been. But yeah, here it is today, and I think this was lettered for Paradise and Pacific. I don't know if it's, yeah, maybe it looks old because of that cracked wheel that corroded a little. This part right here cracked a little. Okay, right there is a Plexus minecart. I think it had something to do with Plexus, if that's correct. And there's another one, if you can see clearly from behind the fence. And these two can be found next to the tunnel at McCormick Stillman on the 15-inch gauge railroad. Okay, you could see right there is a minecart built for 15-inch gauge tracks. And I think the other two I just showed you might have been used for 15-inch gauge tracks. That car right there is actually a ballast car. I think the McCormick Stillman Railroad Park uses it for laying ballast on the 15-inch gauge railroad here at McCormick Stillman. And yeah, here are all the minecarts you all saw. Well, I hope you all enjoyed learning about trains with me today in Matthew Lapp Train Guy segment show. Also, I hope to see you all again in the next segment, and if you didn't subscribe to my channel yet, the subscribe button is just down below the video screen. And if you did not give my Facebook page a like yet, here's where you can find it, as well as the Instagram page. Be sure to like and follow both. Like the Facebook page and follow the Instagram page. And don't forget, link to the Facebook page, the Instagram page, and merch is available on teesprings.com. And link to the Facebook page, the merch store, and Instagram page is just in the description box below. And remember to subscribe to the Train Guy. So this is Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guy Segment Show, signing out until next time. All aboard!